Kenya itainuka, Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima. Leo hii tumekuja katika hii kipindi chetu, the edition ya leo, Sema na Spox, Bonga na Gava. Sema na Spox, Bonga na Gava. Na leo tunaongelea masuala ya peace, cohesion. Lakini kabla ya hapo, last week, Thursday na Friday, tulikuwa na cabinet retreat ambayo ilikuwa pale KCB Karen kule Kajiado, na tulikuwa tunaongelea mambo 7 hivi. Cheki, mambo ngapi? 7. Vile ambavyo hii Gava imeweza kufanyia mwananchi wa kawaida. Hiyo mambo 7 ni gani ambayo tumeona kwamba tumeweza kufanya? Mambo ya economy, tumereduce inflation to 3.7%. Tuko na pia historia ya kuweka shilingi imefika 129 to the dollar karibu mwaka mzima sasa hivi, ilikuwa na 162. Tuko na dola za kutosha sasa hivi, tuko na 10.93 billion US dollars. Tuna cover miezi 4, 5, 6 ya import cover, wale mnajua economy pale, na tumemake sure kwamba saa hii ukiangalia hata zile interest rates zimerudi chini, watu wanaweza kupata mikopo kwa njia ambayo inafaa. Pili, tumeangalia story na agriculture. Saa hii ukiangalia poa, bidhaa ya vitu mob zimerudi chini. Kwa mfano, saa hii maziwa inatoka 50 bob kutoka 35. Ukiangazia kama ni story na kahawa from 65 bob mpaka 148. Hiyo ndi pesa mfukoni ile tulisema. Kama ni 1 metric ton ya miwa wasewa miwa, tunaweka 5500 from 4500. Alafu kicheki kama ni rice kule Mwea, ile economy within 2 years imegrow from 6 billion to 17 billion katika hii awamu ya 5 ya uongozi. Ukiangalia kama ni story, ukikuja kwa mambo ya masomo, education, kwenda shule, kwenda chuo, tumeweza kujenga madarasa 23,800, tukaemploy walimu 76,000. Haijai kufanyika hivyo tangia uhuru. Na pia tumepatiana mastude vitabu 9.9 million. Hiyo ndio Gava sasa imefanya hivi. Alafu ukicheki pia cheki vizuri kwa mambo ya SHA inafanya kazi. Tumepatiana 49 billion. 5.7 million Kenyans wameweza kufanya nini? Kutibiwa. Na watu walikuwa sema SHA sijui nini. SHA sasa inafanya kazi. Na tuko na testimonials nyingi tu sana. Ukikuja pia kwa mambo ya MSMEs, hii mambo ya Hustler Fund imeweza 63 billion and counting. 25 million Kenyans wamepatiwa hiyo pesa, wamesave mabilioni ya pesa hata na vikundi, na ndio tunafanya pia economic empowerment. Ukikuja pia kwa mambo ya digitization of government services, saa hii kupitia e-Citizen tumekuwa na huduma 300, saa hizi imefika 20,195. Na je, collection yetu tunapata, watu walikuwa naiba pesa ya serikali na kuambia. Tulikuwa na collect 60 million, sasa tuna collect between 700 to 1 billion. 1 billion in a day. Hii pesa inarudi kusaidia mwananchi wa kawaida. Alafu ukiangalia mambo ya jobs, hapo ndio tumeweza zaidi. Tuko na aina 4 ya jobs. Kazi kwa ground, ukiangalia hii mambo ya climate works iko mtaani hapa, vijana 20k tumepatia kazi. Ukiangalia kama ni story ya affordable housing, manyumba 150k, jobs 250k, mavijana wanapata kazi. Na kuna ile kitu inaitwa RPL, recognition of previous learning, over 5,000 tumepatia certificate. Wajaingia chuo lakini wako na ile skill. Alafu pia jobs majuu 393,000 jobs, wametupatia 638.6 billion ambao tumepata hapa. Nao ndio bado pia kuna digital jobs zingine 182k. Na pia bado tunaendelea kuemploy kama ni makarao 10k hivi karibuni. Prisons tuliemploy wengine 2k. So tuko hapo ngangari kumake sure wewe kijana, wewe mtu yote tu kijana, sitaki kusema mzai, lakini kila mtu anafaidika na hii Gava. So hii ndio kipindi ya Sema na Spox. Sema na Spox. Na leo tuko na chairman wa NCIC. Anaitwa Rev.Kobia. Tumpigie makofi. Karibu sana. Karibu sana. Kwenye hiki kipindi chetu chinaitwa Sema na Spox. Ebu Rev sema hiyo. Sema na Spox.
Sema na Spox.
Bonga na Gava.
Bonga na Gava.
Kabisa. Sema na Spox, bonga na Gava. Yaani kubonga ndiku. Kwa sababu sasa unajua manzee watu wanasema kesho ni maandamano. Na maandamano hii inafaa kuwa maandamano ya amani, si ndio? Lakini kuna watu wengine wanaona kama wataka kuchochea nini? umma wanataka kuanza kusema hey, we go there, there is chaos and what have you. So who is Reverend Kobia? Tell us, at a personal level, who are you? How did you grow up? How did you end up becoming the NCIC chair?
Well, thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Mwaura. And it's a pleasure to be your guest today. I am a Kenyan.
Yes.
And my story is my history is a long one, but I'll just summarize it.
Yes.
Before I became the chairman of NCIC, I was a senior advisor to the president on peace, cohesion, and peaceful resolution of conflicts. That was my position.
This is something you had even done before.
I have done this before. It has been very much part of my life, really. And then before I became the senior advisor to the president, I was a commissioner in the Judicial Service Commission.
Kwa hivyo pia umekuwa kwa upande wa judiciary.
Nimekuwa upande wa judiciary.
You are very experienced.
Nikawa upande wa executive. Sasa niko hapa as independent commission. But before then, many who belong to the older generation would remember me as General Secretary of NCCK.
Yes.
During the decade of 1980s and the 90s. After that, I went to Geneva, Switzerland, where eventually I became the General Secretary of the World Council of Churches.
Oh, Oikumene.
The first African to hold that position.
Chair. So you were actually there in Geneva there?
I was in Geneva for 20 years.
Karibu na ile university hapo naona hapo.
Hapo kabisa na karibu na UN.
Yes.
Hapo. My office is and that of WHO, for example.
Yes,
we are
just next to each other.
And ILO.
Yes.
So you know Geneva well.
Naielewa hapo vizuri.
And so those who know Geneva would remember that.
Maybe you actually don't know this, and it's good I tell you. I got a WCC scholarship.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
You know Samuel Kabue?
I'm the one who recruited Samuel Kabue.
Sasa hapo mimi ulinisaidia through him.
I see. Yes.
But tell us, Reverend,
yes.
How did you grow up? That's now your professional life, and we can see for sure you are up to the task. But how did you grow up? Where do you come from?
I grew up in Meru.
How's your family,
Yes, I grew up in Meru. That's my early life was in Meru. Then until high school, where I went to high school also in Meru.
Where in high school? Tuambia hata hii primary watu wajue kwamba watu kama wako hiyo primary saa hii wanakuja
kwa secondary school.
Where?
Meathene.
And primary school?
Secondary school. Primary school was Kanjalo.
Were you a head boy? Were you a prefect?
I was the school captain.
See, makofi hapo. Kwa hivyo hiyo ngozi inatoka kule
in my
chini.
high school.
Yes, wonderful.
I was school captain, but I was also games captain.
Okay.
Before I became.
What's your game?
Football.
Oh, wow. Watu wa Man U na Arsenal na msherekee AFC Leopards hapa na Harambee Stars. Wajeni huko kwenda ngambo. We must grow local because that is being mzale.
Yeah, that's Then I went to that time it was Form 5 and 6 at Kenyatta College.
Oh wow, that's my university, Kenyatta University.
Okay, we have a lot
in common, yeah. Kuna watu wa hapa. Mbona mnasha? Kuna watu wa KU hapa? Mnasha hakuna watu wa KU.
Then I went
wale wa KU kwa upande huu.
Then I went to St. Paul's University.
Oh wow, this one, eh?
Yes.
Okay.
And because my other area of interest was in urban development, eventually I managed to get a scholarship to MIT.
Wow,
Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Wow, makofi hapo.
That's where
makofi kwa sababu wacha kusikia wivu. Hii ni material ya MIT, si ndio? Na by the way, crowd mchangamuke, wacheni kukaa very serious. This is an easy program. Hii ni story ya mayouth. Tunaelewa na? So msikae kama mko kwa funeral bwana. Tuko hapa tunachanga. Sema na Spox. Sema na Spox. Ngotea wewe mwingine mwambie sema na Spox tuko hapa ndani. Mgotea kidogo hapo. So MIT, yes?
I did my master's degree in city planning.
Yes.
At MIT.
City planning.
Yeah. And then came back to Kenya, did some work in Mathare Valley.
Wow.
In fact, my thesis for my master's is on housing and community development in the Madare Valley.
Okay.
That time it was the biggest slum area, bigger than Kibera, than Kibra. So that's that's my thought. Then of course, after I worked for some time with the World Council of Churches, then I did my PhD.
In which area?
In international studies.
Oh, wonderful.
So I'm a
from
jack of, you know.
Yeah, you're quite eclectic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but also it goes with the spirit of ecumenism.
Yes.
You know?
Geneva School of Diplomacy.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
So you're also a diplomat and peace now?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
In terms of peace, really, I have been involved in peace work around the world. Even before I became the General Secretary of the World Council of Churches, I was the Director of Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation. So we juxtaposing peace, justice, and creation. That's how really we became up with this whole idea of faith as a matter of, climate change as a matter of faith.
Okay.
And we worked very closely with the UN. I worked very closely with Kofi Annan. We were, because we visited each other since WCC is called the UN of churches, but others used to call me the Pope of Protestants.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I have really been involved in a lot of work. Part of my work was to help with Korea. Okay. In the Korean Peninsula, because of the problem between North Korea and South Korea. And as the World Council of Churches, actually, we tried and we almost brought the two Koreans together. Then in Latin America, I did a lot of work in Colombia, in Chile. So I bring
a lot of experience. Let's clap for our chair.
So that's who I am.
Wow,
now I'm back here.
Yeah. Tell us now about here.
Before I became
tomorrow, people are saying tutaenda kuandamana, tutaenda sijui nini. You know, people want to charge the country.
Yes.
So what has NCIC done in a nutshell for the past few years under your leadership? When did you become the chair of NCIC?
5 years ago.
5 years ago. So what have you been able to do for the last 5 years to help the country remain stable? Kenya has been seen as a bastion of peace. We also have a very good record of maintaining international peace. We are seen also in Haiti. But now locally, of course, sometimes we almost come to the edge of the precipice. So what can you tell us about that? You know,
NCIC was created because of post-election violence, 2007, 2008. After TJRC, through the Justice and Reconciliation, they came up with a whole lot of recommendations. But TJRC was a short-term commission. Then NCIC came as a permanent commission, an ongoing commission, to try and help Kenya, first of all, to have a electoral process that is peaceful throughout, before, during, and after the elections. And you will remember that I think one of the things that NCIC got to be known in 2022 was our elections bill and norma roadmap.
Actually, we do a daily bulletin of the key messages from government. And we saw recently you had a meeting with the Raymond Omolo, the PS, of that Bill and Norma campaign going forward to 2027.
Yeah, elections Bill and Norma. According to the evaluation of the 2022 elections, through the involvement of NCIC, we had the most peaceful election in the country since the multipartyism.
Makofi hapo. That's a very key achievement.
That really is, one would say it's what NCIC has been known for, not only locally, but also internationally, because even the election observers who came from different parts of the world, in their evaluation, that's what they said. And for that reason, we have had quite a number of people coming from other parts of Africa to benchmark with the NCIC on how to carry conduct peaceful elections. So that is one. The other thing is, one of the most important mandates of NCIC is to see that Kenyans have access to opportunities.
Okay.
And one of the opportunities, of course, is employment. And what we have done 2 years ago was what we called ethnic audit of counties, all the 47 counties.
What did you find there?
What we found out is that of the 47 counties, only 13 were in full compliance of what we call the 30%.
The 30%, yeah.
That's right.
So only the rest were just like ethnic enclaves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah? So
kila mtu after they can even transact business in the cabinet.
Kabisa, in their language.
With their language, or the assembly.
We have, some of the cases we have dealt with are people who are reporting that in the cabinet, sometimes people used to switch to their local vernacular, So that's what we have done.
You feel like an outsider because you cannot belong.
Yeah. So that's another successful story that we said. Then I would say
let me ask you a question there, Reverend. So you see, obviously, we come from counties that are predominantly from a certain extraction, ethnic extraction. So then how would you then achieve 30% and maybe predominantly those people are basically, of the same stock?
Yeah, but, that's what some of the governors said. But, we have Kenyans working, say, in the police all over the country.
Yeah.
We have teachers, so doctors, you have to be intentional
in that regard.
And some of the governors, in fact, they have approached and said they would like NCIC to advise them on how to be in compliance. If, for example, there's a governor from, let me use my own county, Meru, because I talked with the governor wanting to know what do we do? I said, say, for example, you approach the governor of Taita and say that we will get 2 of your people to come and work with us, and we'll send 2 people from Meru there. So if you are intentional about it, it doesn't matter whether the county is cosmopolitan or it is not. In fact, some of the most cosmopolitan counties, like Kiambu, did not comply.
Kiambu?
You have your county.
That's my county?
That's your county.
Kiambu must comply with that because even where I come from in Roiro, just without any profiling, we elect people who are not necessarily from Kiambu as MCAs, and we are very integrated. In fact, I think 35 to 40% of people who live in Kiambu are not necessarily from the regional Kiambu.
So if you're intentional about it, Marsabit, of course, was number 1.
Marsabit?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So if you really wanted to do it, it doesn't matter which county you come from.
So that means now, Reverend, that we still have a long way to go in terms of our nationhood.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
We are still struggling with ethnic nationalities.
Absolutely. And what we are doing now, we are about to complete ethnic audit of parastatals. Okay?
Yeah.
Previously, we had done ethnic audit of universities.
Yeah.
And we managed to help the universities actually to comply, because even some universities didn't.
They were not compliant. So they were basically more like village universities.
That's right. So let's come to really what concerns us. In 2021, as NCIC, we approached young people, Gen Z, and we told them that they should register to vote in 2022. Many of them said, we are not going to register to vote because what does it matter really? My vote doesn't count. Whether we vote or not, it doesn't make any difference.
They were apathetic.
The voter apathy, as you remember, was talked a lot about. And so they said, well, leave us alone. This is not our interest. Okay? Now, after the elections, we started a program where we wanted to try and interest the young people in national issues, including voting. And we started actually a program that we had called a summit of people living in what is called illegal settlements, okay? And we said we will start with young people. So we were working on that, And as we were working on that, come June last year, and the young people surprised us. The apathy that they had really is a complete opposite of what then happened. Gen Z stormed the national stage, and the rest is history.
So now, before we take a quick break, what message do you have for the young people now that you've worked with them, the journey, election bill and norma, you know, now here telling them to come and vote, they've expressed their, democratic rights, through, universal suffrage, but now here they are now confronting with the state, and you know what happened? We lost quite a number of them. May their soul rest in peace.
Absolutely.
What is your message for them?
Now, our message really to the young people is that you have a constitutional, the Constitution allows you to demonstrate, to picket, expression, freedom of expression, freedom of association, etc. Now, what I would like to say to young Kenyans today, Gen Z especially, is that you demonstrated that you can make a difference if you really are determined to do it. Now, how you do it also matters a lot. We would like the Gen Z, this younger generation now, to do what us when we were Gen Z, we did more than even what has been done more recently.
Yes.
So what we want to say is that how can this be done constructively, peacefully? Because I listened to you saying what the government has been able to do. All that could not have happened if there was no peace.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yes.
So if you disrupt the peace, even what you are trying to do, you might not achieve it. So that's, first of all, it's important to do it peacefully. Secondly, is to be well organized, even with some structures. Because that's the only way then you can begin now to use your talents, your abilities, to be able to make it durable.
Okay, so Reverend, thank you very much. Let's start for chair. Hii ni kipindi ya Sema na Spox. Sema na Spox. Let's take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
My name is Professor Victoria Wambui-Ngumi, the Vice Chancellor of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. On behalf of the Council and the entire university management, we extend our heartfelt congratulations to the class of June 2025.
They say the earth without art would just be, get it? We circumnavigate the globe and traverse the local scene to bring you art and culture at their very best. From fine art, culinary art, performing arts, and even cultural events, you name it, and we have got you covered. My name is Kevin Kasioki, and I will be serving you this and much, much more each and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Thank you. Welcome to Sema na Spox. Gava iko wapi? Hapa. Na unabonga nayo, sio kuandamana, sio kurushiana mawe. Na kesho, by the way, ni siku ya commemoration. Kama ni commemorate, haifai kuwa na nini? Na story na sijui tunapigana na polisi. Niliona watu wengine huko watu wanaanza kupiga polisi hivi. Pia polisi wafai kupiga wengine, si ndio? Tukue watu ambao tunapenda nchi kwa sababu hatuna nchi nyingine. Tuwe watu wazale. Now let's come back now to you, Reverend. But now we want to hear from the other side. We have our live audience here, and we want to give the first opportunity to the CEO of NCIC, Daktari. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, government spokesman, for this opportunity, and thank you, my chair, for wonderful statements and a brief history on yourself and what you've done as a commission. Now, my question is to the chairman on what NCIC has done. I know NCIC has done a lot of work in peace building. You could elaborate more on what you have done to ensure sustained peace building in the country. And really, I support my chairman also on the fact that young people should, we are not doing a demonstration, we are just doing a commemoration. Let there be peaceful procession if they need to be, and also let there be order, and we need our country to develop, because peace is an enabler for socio-economic development. So, Chairman, on the peace building efforts, some of the efforts you have done, maybe.
Okay, Chairman, we'll take all the 5 questions together because of time. Let's come to number 2.
Oh, okay. Then I will need someone else.
Much, Bonga Chairman. My question goes to you directly. As we know, NCIC is related to build cohesion amongst the different groups.
Can you speak up, please? So that
be louder.
Okay, we understand.
Use the mic. Make it closer to you.
Fine. Is it okay?
No.
Is
that mic?
Should be on.
It's fine.
Your name?
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Brian Kipkorir. We tend to associate NCIC to bring cohesion amongst different groups. We understand that the youths of the country at the moment, they feel like they have been left out in decision-making role. And one of the things that, as we know, that is a duty or a function of a role of NCIC to conduct a research and inform government on policies that need to be amended. We know that National Youth Act 2009, it was bring anti-devolution. And we find out that what has NCIC come up with it to inform the government so that they may amend this National Youth Council Act so that the young people feel like they are part and parcel of decision making, and also to have that kind of a cohesion.
Makofi kwake. Let's come to question number 3 quickly. And please let's have more volume. Watu wa mitambo tuongezeni volume kwa hii mic ndio tusikie vizuri. Go ahead.
Hello, Dr.
Is that mic on, really?
This mic is not...
Please, kindly. Check it out. Is it, okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. So I wanted to ask...
Your name, please?
Ashley. My name is Ashley Nadia. So I wanted to ask the chairman, tomorrow we're going to mark the anniversary of the Gen Z protests. There was a question on how exactly the NCIC is working with the Gen Zs. As we all know, they are not happy, and just exactly how is the commission, or rather your organization, working to hear out the cries, or rather what exactly the Gen Zs are out there protesting for? Are you there for them?
Thank you, Ashley. Next, number 3. Number 4.
Thank you, government spokesperson. Disseminating a lot of information at once on what the government is doing. Thank you for that. Thank you, Chair, for amplifying the peace message and being the conscience of the nation. My name is Rosemary Were Saka. I'm from Kakamega County, the Kakamega County, but most importantly, I'm a Kenyan. So mine is about the proliferation of misinformation, disinformation, fake news, and hate speech on the digital platforms. We've now seen that all this misinformation, disinformation, and hate messages has moved from the physical to social media. So what kind of, what is NCIC doing to end hate messages on social media, and especially the young people? Tomorrow we are commemorating, and it's happening online. Young people are mobilizing online. So just to also support Chair as he answers that question is to say that as young people, when we wake up in the morning, when we touch our phones. Today, I went to the University of Nairobi. I'm a candidate there. So when I went there, I met 3 young people. They actually accosted me. They were on the street, Spox, Hapo University of Nairobi at the gate. They had a desk and 2 chairs. They were recording TikToks for tomorrow. Then I had one saying, Sakaja kiona hii, I hope atafurahia. So I don't know what they were recording, but they looked very happy. So they entered, so I realized they are students. So I engaged them. I asked them, what do you do with how many social media handles do you have? One said 8. I asked him, what do you do with those 8 handles? They kept me there for 1 hour, and I almost missed my meeting, but I told them that let us spread messages of hope using those handles and peace messages. Lastly, Chairman, is there any way that NCIC can be maybe facilitated by the government to use AI to detect hate speech and to sieve it from the digital space? Thank you.
That's a very good question from Rosemary. Makofi. Makofi mazuri kabisa. Kama umekula ubusuma, anasema yeye anatoa Kakamega. Come to the 5th question, the final one, or comment. Please speak louder to the mic.
My name is Koesh Ken from UDA Party, the Secretary General Youth League. To you, spokesperson, first congratulations for starting such media briefing with the citizen so that we can engage directly and share government progress from different sectors. My question to Bona Referent on my issues to do with the NCIC. Because as the youth, we see that NCIC, in a way, you have failed us as a country. Because there have been reckless statements being made by politicians, e.g. the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, 2027 election looking like a Christmas party. I saw you made I can say a mere statement on the social media, and they never took it serious because the way you presented it. It was followed by a number of individuals like Malala, the likes of Arnold Maliba, and there's no action being taken because such statements incite the country and can ban the country. Lastly, and it's not concerning NCIC, to you, Bwana spokesperson, because maybe I cannot still find time to share on this, is...
go ahead.
Your statements on the SHA, not people being engaged on the ASLA fund, not entitled to receive the SHA benefits, because I saw your statement was rejected by the Cabinet Secretary, Bwana Duale. So somehow your statements of late have not have directly been fighting the individuals in the government within, the likes also like the stamp of the government, the public seal, on being chief of staff, being the older, and I think Attorney General also complained and say that she is the holder of the seal. So I will need your remarks also on the same, because the public shows some that you are not sharing the rightful information to them. Yet is the mainstream communication center of the government and should share proper information and not some disconnect. Thanks.
Makofi hapo. So, Chair, I think we have some few minutes. You can now take to the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much for those questions. And let me say that I don't have to cover everything just myself. I have a team of NCIC staff here who do most of the work, of course. We have the CEO as well. And therefore, they could chip in at any point. Now, the first question was on peace building, what NCIC has done. We have, in the last 3-4 years, when I have been the chair of the commission, we have a long list of the achievements that we have done, particularly in peace building. But let me mention 3. One is Marsabit. Marsabit is a county or area which has had the most costly, which has been most costly in terms of peace building. We have had 3 planes that crashed in Marsabit, including the one that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Boyana Godana, who was in fact himself from Marsabit. Okay, so in terms of human, cost of human life, even those who are seeking peace, it has been very high. Now, it took a long time, but finally, we were able to have a peace accord in Marsabit. Today, we have a center, a money center, in Marsabit, where most of those people who are involved in the violence that we have had, ethnic-based violence, we even have a corner in that center where women, particularly because women have the ones who have been, I think, mostly affected by this, where they asked us as NCIC, can we provide a corner where, in terms of healing process, because of the trauma involved, in the war, they want a place where they can meet with the other women, especially who are specialists in trauma healing. Okay. The young people, we have a space for the young people as well. So this is an example of a successful peace building. The second one is Mandera. Mandera, again, we have had a problem that has been going on for a long time. 2 clans
that have been fighting.
That's right. And again, we started working with the councils of elders, and finally, we were able to have an accord which was signed. And what was interesting is that after this was achieved, some of those who have been waiting for the last 2 or 3 generations, they remember who killed whom. And all what they said was that today we forgive each other, but there is blood money, that has to be paid in camels. So I didn't even know that they can tell how many camels are to be paid to which family. So what I'm saying this because it's very important that when we achieve peace, then there is a whole process of healing.
And
because many people, unless there is healing, there is no reconciliation. So that's another one. The last one.
And we cannot use then those reconciliation commemorations to cause further mayhem.
Absolutely not. The third and the final one is Sondu. Sondu in the border. For your information, boundary conflicts. We have 34 counties out of 47 counties have boundary conflicts. And the oldest is Sondu, which is between the Kisumu and the Kericho counties. The first person that is recorded to have been killed because of boundary-related conflicts was in 1929 in Sondu. So finally, we have had working with the governors of the 2 counties, Professor Nyang' Nyong'o of Kisumu and Dr. Eric Mutai of Kericho. We have talked with the religious leaders, with the youth, with the MCAs, and we have now managed to bring peace in that area. And we are planning to commemorate this on the 21st of September this year. That is the International Day of Peace, where we have decided that we'll have a peace garden, a man garden, and a peace monument.
So what you are trying to say, Reverend, if I am getting you right,
right,
there's a way in which you've established kind of a protocol or ways in which to do proper commemoration.
Exactly.
Without mayhem and mandamano.
And this is what
that.
We are doing, exactly.
Yes. Maybe you can move to the next
now,
questions.
The next question from Brian is on youth that are feeling having been left out and how NCIC will help in the Youth Council Act. Let me say that when it comes to young people feeling left out, it is true in many ways. We can say that there are many Kenyan young people who feel left out. But if we begin to work from situation to situation, and find what are the root causes of being left out? Is it because there is not enough space for room for everybody? It is true. Government is not a big employer. Okay. The areas where we can create more jobs than anywhere else is in in private sector, in communities, in civil society, etc., etc.
Yes, yes.
So there's a lot that can be done to include youth, young people.
Okay.
And
So-
part
so
of
do we
our
need- do-
mandate
do we
is
need-
inclusivity.
So do we need to amend the act? You know, he was talking about
yes,
the
and that's
amendment
what
of
we
the
are
two
looking
acts of
at.
Parliament.
That's right. That is, we as NCIC clearly we can work, you know, with with young people to make sure that NCIC then can bring, because we are very much involved in some amendments to laws, etc., including the NCI Act itself. So we are open for that, and we can even lobby for the amendment of the Youth Control, Youth Council Act.
Okay.
In this, let me add that one of the areas that NCIC has been involved with young people is through Amani clubs. Amani clubs are for high schools and even some colleges.
Okay.
And this is one area that I would say that we have been very successful when we talked about peace, preparing people for peace. And this is one area that we listen to young people, particularly in schools, so that there's a lot that we can then use as being informed by this.
Reverend,
for
let's
this
move to
act.
the other question, because we also
Then
need to go to
the
other
other question is how NCIC is working with Gen Z. Through our transgenerational conversations that I mentioned a little earlier on. When we launched it, we had, and we have, of course, Gen Z on my staff, quite a number of them. And so we involved them. And one thing that I must really repeat here is that when we launched the transgenerational conversations, we had 5 generations.
Okay.
The oldest was a man who is, that year was 103 years. Today
103
is
years?
Yes.
Wow.
Getu Wakahengeri.
Getu Wakahengeri.
That's right.
Well, he was
when
actually
he was Gen Z at 22.
He was actually the first member of parliament for.
You were in parliament with him?
No, I wouldn't have it. No, he was the first member of parliament for Juja.
For Juja,
yes,
exactly.
Yes, yeah.
But at 22, he was arrested. He was detained in Manyani. And the day that the train that was going to collect him to take him from Manyani to Lamu, that's the maximum security place. When he entered the train, who did he find there? His father.
Yeah.
So these were the Mau Mau. Now people talking about Mau Mau. They were detained in Lamu together for the first couple of months. They were in the same cell. So that when young people heard that, and they've heard that there's a, every generation
has got something to struggle for.
Something to struggle
yes.
for, and so that's the important thing, and that's what I would say we have.
Actually, just
now,
maybe
let me come back
before you move to the next point. Frans Fanon says that each generation out of relative obscurity must find a cause either to fulfill it or betray it.
Or betrayal.
Out of relative obscurity. So everybody, and we have actually studied and seen that between 18 to 25 years, people must do something. But the question is, what are you doing?
It's very interesting you mentioned Frans Fanon. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, in Johannesburg, I quoted exactly what you have said about Frans Fanon.
Now we are in sync. Let's come to the next question.
How many of you have read The Wretched of the Earth by Frans Fanon?
Vijana wasome.
You try to find out what Frans Fanon has written in The Wretched of the Earth. Then you will know that there are people really who have done a lot to, for peace. Now, Rosemary, thank you. I mean, of course, Rosemary also asked a question about hope and about the social media and hate speech. It is true that when we came up, when I became the chair of NCIC, one of the first things I did was to pronounce that we are going to establish a wall of shame and a wall of fame. Wall of shame are those who are involved in hate speech. If twice, we have caught you doing being accused of hate speech, then we put you on the wall of shame. Do you know, people told us that Kenyan politicians don't care whether, put them on. In fact, they care so much that the hate speech utterances reduced considerably because they didn't want it to be on the wall of shame. But then,
so it's a very good tool, eh?
It's a very good tool. We have used it. And one of the persons that and we agreed with him, I always quote him, Sifuna.
Yes, Edwin Sifuna.
Because as General Secretary of ODM, when he had that altercation with Aisha Jumwa,
yes.
we summoned him. He came,
yes.
I caught him, I sat him down and said, look, Mheshimiwa, you have a long future ahead of you. Very, very, there's a lot that you can do. Would you really want your children, your, legal fraternity to know that you are on the wall of shame? He said, Chair, I tell you from now on, you'll never hear me on this end. To show that he was remorseful, he volunteered that 5 hours of pro bono work. We worked with NCIC, so that we could come up with a program.
The National General and Equality Commission.
And that's exactly what has happened.
Okay.
Today, we had Celestia. We summoned Celestia. Somebody asked about the questions that we are not doing anything. Celestia came. When he met with us, he said, what I want to do, from now on, I'm going to be a ambassador of peace.
Okay.
And he told us, let me know how we can do it. The same thing we did with Sifuna, we are going to do with Sema.
Makofi hapo kabisa. Hii ni program ya Sema na Spox. Sema na Spox. And we are telling people, actually, you do your work well, and you have given us very good examples. Yeah. So that is to mean, Reverend, you take action, and it's not just issuing statements.
That's right. Now,
and also, maybe before you answer to that one, even the issue about, sometimes the media will misquote and try to drive a wedge so that they can create news. I mean, it's very important to correct factually, and where there is need for clarification, it will be clarified. Because sometimes when information is not very clear, then somebody must come up and say, yes, this was not the correct position, this is the right position, in the spirit of transparency and accountability. So because of time, Reverend, let's now move to our social media handles and hear what we have today. Sijui yule engineer wetu anasema nini kutoka hivi.
Really, because of that question about...
no, hold it on there, Reverend.
Okay.
Because of time, because we really don't have a lot of time. Yes, over to you.
Asante sana bwana spokesperson. Karibu sana Reverend Daktari Samuel Kobia. Swali la kwanza linatoka katika mtandao wa Facebook na anayeuliza anaitwa Francis Olematope kutoka Narok East Constituency. Swali la kwanza, je, NCIC hufanya kazi katika kaunti zote? Swali lingine anasema, je, kuna mipango maalum kwa vijana kwa hili tume lako? Swali la pili linatoka kutoka kwa Masi Chepto kutoka Kapseret. Huyu ni katika TikTok, anatuuliza, je, NCIC ni chombo cha serikali au ni chombo lisilo la kiserikali? Swali kutoka Twitter kutoka Yusuf Mohamed kutoka Garissa anauliza, how does NCIC prevent hate speech? Ametoa mfano mmoja wa kuna mheshimiwa mmoja kutoka Ponde la Ufa ambaye amesikika akisema, and quote, kitu anasema kuwa kula zisipojaa watajaza. Hilo umelichukulia vipi? Swali lingine kutoka kwa Juma Salim kutoka Facebook kutoka Meru anauliza, how can a citizen report hate speech or discrimination to NCIC? Swali ambalo la mwisho linatoka kutoka kwa mmoja anajiita Gen Z mzalendo kutoka Mweki. Yes. Wow. Kutoka Mweki Kasarani constituency. Anauliza, je, NCIC inaweza kumpeleka mtu mahakamani? Asante.
Makofi hapo kabisa. So, Reverend, please, you have only 3 minutes to summarize all of that.
Oh my goodness.
Only 3 minutes because of time. So kindly, you don't have to dwell a lot on one topic.
No, that's fine. Now, do we have youth programs? Yes. We are youth programs, and we are going to, we can make it known to those who would like to participate in our youth programs. I think that one we can, I can say that quite clearly. Mary Kipto, I think, that asked about security. No, I didn't. About hate speech. How, if NCIC and somebody asked how they can report hate speech. Yes, we deal with hate speech. No, we cannot be ourselves, be the ones to take anybody to court. because there is a division of responsibilities. As NCIC, we identify those who have, hateful utterances, etc. We do investigation. When we are satisfied that we have evidence, then we take it. We summon those people. They make statements because they have to explain, and then if we are satisfied, we give it to DPP. DPP is the only one who can take people to court. Yeah. Once it is with the DPP, our responsibility has ended there. For example, the former Deputy President, Gachagua, we summoned him. He didn't come. We have now recommended that he be arrested and should be now handled by DPP. So on that, the ball is on the court of DPP. So that's one thing that I can say. The one Juma from Meru wanting to know how to report hate speech, and it is very easy because if you do have a case of hate speech, I think everybody knows how to get in touch with the NCIC, and we can publish, clearly how to get it to NCIC. Okay, finally, there was the question of, Gen Z Mzalendo. That's very good to know. We wanted to really encourage young people to be patriotic. And whatever else that we do as young people, be it we were involved, I was involved in demonstrations, etc., during my youth student days. But one thing we were always mindful of.
Uliongoza mgomo?
Sana. Of course.
What were the grievances that time?
That time it was we were beginning to see KANU as the only party beginning now to erode any freedom of speech, freedom of association, etc. So most of it was against the
civil and political rights,
the excesses of a one-party dictatorship. That's basically what we were talking about. So it's very important that as young people, because as you said, spokesman, that we have no other country except Kenya. And let me say that many people are envious of Kenya.
Maybe, Reverend, as you talk about that, you can also give your closing remarks, your words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I want to say is that, first of all, the young people, as I said, must be allowed, and they should really feel that they can speak out, they can express their views, etc. But the most important thing is what you are doing to be constructive or destructive. And I would say that what I've heard from the Gen Z, none of them says we are going to the streets to cause violence. Not a single one of them. And therefore, that my message to those who might be planning to infiltrate and send goons and disrupt the peaceful demonstrations of young people. Those ones should resist from doing that, because if they do it, obviously they will have to face the law. To the police, as I said earlier today, we really want to say that don't use excessive force. The police is there to help young people we are really talking tomorrow of commemoration. When you commemorate, it's very different from demonstrations, from protests, etc. What you are saying is that we want to remember, whether it's with the flowers or with the candles, because those are the things that are used in commemoration, and that this can happen and happen peacefully, and that's what we wanted to see. And if that happens, then there's hope for an even better Kenya for all of us. There's enough room for all Kenyans in this country, and we must continue to build our nation to be the biggest and the most peaceful and just society in this region and in the world. Asanteni sana.
Haya, kuja usimame hapa. Weka hiyo kitabu hapo. Weka tu hapa chini, haina shida. Haya basi, tuangalie pale mbele. Tutasema Sema na Spox, Bonga na Gava. Alafu tuseme mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo, je wewe. Sawa sawa? 1, 2, 3. Sema na Spox, Bonga na Gava. Sema na Spox, Bonga na Gava. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima. Daima hivi.
Daima.
Hapo kabisa. Makofi. Tangu hapa kwenda kesho tunasema ni maandamano bila noma. Asanteni sana.
To go look for her.
Unajua Gloria amejificha.
Mali imefika, afadhali nichukue watoto niende tu niishi nao kwangu. No, please don't say that.
Kama nakupigia kelele, utoke kwa nyumba brother yangu.
Mimi sitaki kisirani na wewe asubuhi yote tafadhali.
Watch your tongue. You have a very loose tongue to be a wife and to be a woman.
Enough already.
Where's baby?
Auntie Gloria did not show up.
Ati, are you sure?